welcome to TNT. If you would please welcome our very first guest, Bobby the Brain Heenan, along with strongman Ken Patera. Yes,
thank you, sir.
Oh, it was very nice of you, Alfred.
Well, it's a lovely white.
Welcome back to TNT. Last time, as a matter of fact, we saw you on TNT. There was, at least for you, Bobby the Brain Heenan, there was a very embarrassing situation, wasn't there? Do you recall that? Being fired? Do you recall that?
Yeah, I recall it.
Okay.
Rub it in, huh? You got the salt back there, and you see a nice open wound, so you take advantage.
Is it an open wound? Does it really bother you?
Well, I'll tell you something. I wasn't really embarrassed. See, I'm not the kind of a man that gets embarrassed. If I had done something wrong, and I'd been the average 8 to 5 clock punching humanoid, then I could be embarrassed. The idea of that punk, and I'm talking about Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, trying to embarrass me. The idea of him trying to embarrass me, that's what upsets me.
All right, what we'd like to do is to take you back to some footage. It'll be a Piper's Pit. You recall being the guest on Piper's Pit,
yeah,
in which the subject was brought up again about your termination, if you would, in terms of your managing Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Let's take you now to Rowdy Roddy Piper in Piper's Pit and his guest, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
We have with us the greatest wrestling manager I have ever seen in my entire life, and I have seen them all. And he has a special announcement, and I'm excited as anybody else to hear the special announcement. Mr. Brain, Bobby the Heenan, I'd like to hear.
Well, you know my illustrious career, what I've done with athletes in this great sport of wrestling, what I've done and how I've made men.
Unbelievable.
You've seen what I've done with the career of Ken Patera. You've seen what I've done with the career of John Studd. But I want you and everybody out here to listen to this. Never, and I mean never in my life has this happened to me.
What? Get to the point.
Until recently. And I'm going to tell you what exactly has happened. The world's biggest no-good, low-life ingrate, Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, has fired me.
What? Wait a second. Wait. You can't, wait. You're the manager. He cannot, he cannot do that.
He did it. He fired me.
Calm down, Bobby. Wait a second. First of all, wait, whoa, Bobby. Whoa, he's a coward. He's a coward anyway. He's blunderful. His name is Mr. Blunderful. He's not worth getting excited about.
Getting excited about? He's put a smear on my reputation.
He's a coward.
And it'll be a cold day in hell that he thinks he's getting away with this.
How does it feel to be fired?
You ever been fired?
No.
Have you ever molded a man's career? Have you ever taken some average ham and egger? And that's what Orndorff was. He was a mediocre class athlete. Oh, he was big in high school football. He was big in pro ball. He was big when he had a bunch of other guys to depend on. When it came to one-on-one, he was nothing till I took over. I gave him the name Mr. Wonderful. I gave him the robes. I was the one insisting on him working out, getting in condition he is. I'm the one that made him. And then he turns around and kicks me in the teeth?
Well, I'd like to get a little different reaction, I'm sure, from a different source. Ken Patera, how do you feel about the recent occurrence?
Well, the goodness of Mr. Heenan's heart, he brought Paul Orndorff into the family along with John Studd and myself. And it was a happy family for a long time. And when you have class and you have charisma, you might as well flaunt it. Well, Paul Orndorff has a lot of class, but it's very low class. And we were very disturbed at what happened. You know, a person such as myself, if I can come out here and wear nice, beautiful robes like this, because I have class. I was in the Pan American Games, the Olympic Games, I did it all. So I don't have to go behind somebody's back, stab him in the back, and like Mr. Heenan says, get kicked in the teeth by some low-down guy like Paul Orndorff. The man here took his career, and it took off, it skyrocketed. Before that, it was just kind of mediocre. I'm gonna tell you something else right now, Paul Orndorff. The family, John Studd, myself, and Bobby the Brain Heenan, we will never forget that.
You know, Orndorff might be laughing hard right now, but I'm going to guarantee you something. I'm going to have the last laugh. This man's gonna eventually get his hands on you somewhere, someplace down the road. So is Stud. And the day's gonna come when I'm gonna be soaking my hands in Epsom salts to get the swelling down, because I'm gonna slap the taste right out of his face if I ever get close to him again. And I'm gonna guarantee Orndorff that and everybody that. Because nobody on a national television show like this with the highest ratings in the world comes out here and embarrasses me, tries to insult me. It's gonna happen, Orndorff, and it's gonna happen big, and I'm gonna enjoy the laugh.
We'll be back. Back with more of Ken Patera, Olympic strongman, and his manager Bobby the Brain Heenan, himself wrestler extraordinaire. And in a few moments, we're going to take a look at Mr. Ken Patera in action. And I would assume that thus far you are very proud of the skills of Ken Patera.
Of course I'm proud of the skills of Ken Patera. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He went to the Pan Am Games, first man to press over 500 pounds. You've heard it all. He's done it all. He's undefeated. You know, a lot of people think...
Undefeated.
Undefeated. Read my lips. Undefeated. You humanoids, look at this. Undefeated. Hand raised in the air. Any more? You want it simple? That's it. Simple as it gets. More than I can say for Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I saw him on the canvas there at Madison Square Garden. He was out like a cheap light bulb. Every time he got in that ring, he was like a cheap watch. He was stopped every second. I'm gonna guarantee you something. A lot of people think that Orndorff is gonna distract Stud and Patera with their quest for the World Championship. That's not gonna happen as long as the Brains is controlling it. Hogan's on the program today, right?
Yes, indeed.
You don't think he's watching this man right now?
I'm sure
and listening
he is.
to me? Well, he better be.
Let's all watch Ken Patera in action.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, you talk about pure strength. We saw Ivan Polish Power Putski in action, and now we see truly one of the strongest men in the world, and he has proved it many, many times, Ken Patera.
Big Kenny Patera going right to work on Ronnie D, picks him up. Big press body slam. And then a little pose for the crowd. We like it, Kenny. Drop that big elbow on him.
Ronnie D, a big man in that ring, by the way. And Patera continues the assault. Look at that, pushing away the referee.
What's the matter, huh?
Listen to Patera hollering, "What's the matter?" You heard that. Referee still trying to get Patera off Ronnie D.
Well, you know, Kenny Patera lives by, well, how does the saying he says goes? Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. That's what Kenny Patera lives by. Just clothesline him on that top rope. And Big Kenny's on a roll, Jack.
And Patera, like a man obsessed in that ring right now, using the elbow. Look at that. Why is he choking his opponent? For what reason?
For what reason? Cut off the wind, slow him down. You don't get air, you can't function in that ring, Jack.
With all the strength that Kenny Patera possesses and all the ring skills, he doesn't have to resort to tactics like that.
Yeah, but it's Bobby the Brain Heenan rubbing off on strongman Ken Patera. Look at that, he could have pinned him, I believe, and picked him up. I love it, Jack, I love it.
I know you're loving it. Had his man pinned and pulled him back up.
Big shoulder breaker, and down goes D again. Patera, let's see if he covers him. Nope,
No.
He's not gonna.
How do you like that? Huh? Picked him up again, and the assault continues.
Big suplex. Let's see if Patera will pin him this time. D is completely out of it.
Crowd loving it, by the way.
Could have pinned him twice already, Jack. And there it is, the swinging full Nelson. Strongman Ken Patera's forte. It's all over now.
That's the submission hold. The swinging full Nelson. Look at that. Look at Patera standing on his opponent, and the fans are loving it, believe it or not. Now Patera, look at this. Now he had the man beat. There's no cause for this. Absolutely none at all.
Well, apparently he's serving notice to someone, Jack.
The winner of the match, Ken Patera.
There he is, strongman Ken Patera. You know what I think? I'll tell you, Jesse. I think we're going to need a stretcher to pick up the likes of Ronnie D after that tremendous beating that he took to Ken Patera.
Well, I'll tell you, Ken Patera, with the absence of his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan, apparently wanted to serve notice that maybe he don't need Bobby the Brain all the time to be vicious, to be cruel, and to be the winner that he is, Jack.
Ronnie D is not moving right now. Referee John Bonello hovering over Ronnie D. And Ronnie D is not moving. Wait a minute, look at this. Here comes Patera again. Look at this. What is going on? Look at this. This is unbelievable. There's no cause for this. What is he trying to do?
Obviously, he's trying to put the man in the hospital, Jack. Strong man Ken Patera.
Well, what about that little display there? And what about the commentary as well, that perhaps Ken Patera does not need Bobby the Brain Heenan at his side at all times?
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Heenan is there when the time is right. It's quite obvious the time wasn't right this time. Just like Jack Reynolds, announcer, said, he mentioned that I was serving notice to somebody, but he wasn't sure. Well, it's quite obvious by now. Everybody knows who I'm serving notice to, and that's first Paul, Mr. Wonderful, Orndorff, as he refers to himself, and the Hulkster.
Serving notice to both of them.
That's right. Because, number one, I want that World Wrestling Federation belt around my waist. As everybody's quite aware of, I'm the uncrowned champion. Everybody knows that. Like Mr. Heenan mentioned earlier, I am undefeated, and I will remain that way. And Paul Orndorff, when I get through with you, you'll have a face that only a mother will love.
Mr. Heenan, are you doubting yourself any at all? I mean, you know, we see what's happened with Paul Orndorff. We saw what happened in WrestleMania. We see here Ken Patera saying that he doesn't need you all the time, of course. Are you starting to doubt your own managerial skills?
What are you trying to say? I'm having trouble holding everything together? Are you trying to say I'm a man possessed by, I'm beside myself? I don't have complete control of my thoughts? If you're trying to say that, pal, you're dead wrong. What I'm possessed with is the fact that I am going to financially and physically make sure that Paul Orndorff is living in some doorway on Skid Row. And I'm going to make sure that Patera or Stud or one member of my family is a heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm going to do that by walking over the busted-up carcass of Paul Orndorff, and then on to Hulk Hogan, because nobody comes out here on television does what Orndorff does to me, spreads the propaganda around what Orndorff says about me. I'm not losing it. I've got complete control of it. I'm Bobby the Brain. I'm not like this. I know what I'm doing. I am calm.
Well, he made reference that, well, I don't need
you know what he
well,
is.
you're sorely
He's one of-
mistaken. I need this man more than anybody else in the world.
You're not going to
Just
insult
make
me.
Sure that you're
We'll be back. We'll be back
Don't
with
call
more.
me Weasel. Somebody over there yelled Weasel. I heard.
We would like to welcome our next guest, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, one of the all-time greats in the World Wrestling Federation, hailing from Hawaii. Would you please welcome King Curtis Iaukea. King Curtis Iaukea, you look fabulous.
I feel great. Thank you very much, Vince. It's
Boy,
nice to come here and see all my old friends.
I tell you, we can remember your brand of excitement in the squared circle, both in individual and tag team action. Your body weight in your prime was over the 300-pound mark, was it not?
About 350, 360. I'm about the same now, but sitting on Waikiki every day, I think I've compressed down a little. It's the same weight. Yeah.
You used to say, Curtis, that the sins of mankind were written on that kisser of yours.
There's a lot to go by sometimes too, Vince, but I feel that I've been very lucky in that I'm sitting in the front row at Waikiki Beach, and I get to see all of my friends, all the wrestlers that are traveling to and from Japan, so I'm in the right position where I feel like I'm still involved because there are a lot of good times that I associate it with.
There's no doubt about that. If anyone had the good times, it was King Curtis Iaukea. Speaking of good times, we'd like to take a little trip over to Hawaii. Maybe you can give us some help in terms of what we might be seeing, some of the scenes from Hawaii, some of the more pictorial aspects of the beautiful Hawaiian island. So with the commentary with King Curtis Iaukea, let's take a little look at beautiful Hawaii. Maybe we'll even see you on the beach. Let's look at the footage.
Can't miss me, fattest Hawaiian there.
Is Is this sunset a moment ago? It was very, very nice.
Where would that be?
This would be on the island of Kauai, Vince, your lordship. This would be the Akaka Falls on the Big Island. This is on the Big Island of Honolulu. On the Big Island of Hawaii that we're watching this now.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful flowers.
Oh, it's beautiful on the Big Island, especially the falls up there. They're about 28, 30 miles outside of Hilo. Big tourist attraction there for us, it is. Now we look like maybe we're getting to Waikiki. The pearly white sands of Waikiki. No, not yet. This is on Maui. This would be on Maui there. There's Lahaina. We've come around to the other side of Maui. It's our old capital there.
Yeah, lovely.
It's our biggest tourist attraction, Maui is now. Everybody coming to Maui.
What were those trees? Would they have been coconut trees or something that we saw before then?
That was a coconut tree, your lordship.
That is not, though, is it?
No, those are ferns.
You're looking for that kielbasa tree over there. I don't see it yet. There's a lovely lady, huh?
Gosh, what a lovely lady.
You get to see them all on Waikiki. They all come by sooner or later, Vince.
They do.
Yes, they do.
I'm pleased we're taking a holiday there, Vince, aren't you?
We're in Honolulu now.
Well, it was your invitation, wasn't it?
Man could start a whole new life there on the pearly white sands, your lordship. We got room for you, too. You both come along.
Those lovely people
This,
there.
yes, this would be
It looks like Alfred trying to fly. He'll never get off the ground. That was not Alfred, however.
Gosh.
There's Waikiki.
Is that where your beach is? That's
Right in the front row.
Golly,
Right
yes.
in the front
What a
row.
Alfred,
lovely
maybe you
people.
shouldn't watch this portion. You have to watch your heart.
Yes, it's in danger.
All this is,
Oh my
we see all
gosh.
this in Hawaii, right?
Actually, you can get tired of it. I find a
Really?
great turn on
What?
coming here and finding all the ladies looking at them in beautiful nylon hose and dresses and everything. You know, sometimes the imperfection
There's
shows
Don
up
Morocco
too
there.
much on
Look,
the
skin.
Yes, sir.
There's
As
Don.
I said, you could get tired of steak.
ice cream.
A little bit of the nightlife here, huh? There's a little bit of a fair amount of that, isn't there, going on?
There's something for everyone there in the 50th state. We're very fortunate. Any type of interest you have, it's right there. in
Well,
Waikiki.
I definitely saw some of my interests there, definitely.
Yes, that was the tree climbing.
You always were a ladies' man.
Well, I tried, put it that way. Wasn't always successful, Curtis, not like yourself.
I don't know if I could stand an example of success, but thank you for not getting personal. You do it all the time, many times.
King Curtis Ayake. In a moment, as a matter of fact, we're going to take you back down memory lane, King, and show you a tag team matchup in which you and your tag team partner, then Baron Mikel Cicluna, were facing Pedro Morales and Victor Rivera. And that was just one of the many battles that you had throughout your career in the World Wrestling Federation. But every time you went to the ring, it was a battle, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, but it was very comforting to have someone like Baron Cicluna, because he was big and he was fit, and I felt very comfortable with him. He was, I wasn't actually, I wasn't that tough, so I was very happy to be around and have a partner like Baron Cicluna, because he'd clear him out getting in and clear him out getting out. So I just walked in.
I think you
I
did
was
your
lucky.
fair share of clearing people out as well.
Yes, I would say even more than your fair share,
Yes.
both in and out of the squared circle. All right, let's take you back now to some videotape footage of, we'll join it in progress, I believe, King Curtis Ayake and his tag team partner, Baron Mikel Cicluna, against Pedro Morales and Victor Rivera. And now we're joining it. No, it is Chief Jay Strongbow.
God.
And
That's me.
that is you. Now, this must have been vintage, what year, Alfred, would you say this is, approximately?
I would say approximately 73, 74, around that time, because if you notice there, Strongbow obviously looks a lot younger, but I distinctly remember the files relating to this was at that particular time period, late 73, early 74.
This is not the match we made reference to earlier. This is a different, obviously, with Sonny King and Jay Strongbow. But likewise, they gave you a real run for your money, King.
Some athlete. The Indian there was some athlete. I remember him very, very well. And it seemed to me that whenever he danced, he was a real dancer for money. When he danced, everybody danced in the arena. So yes, but lucky you can tell the type of partner I had. He's big and he's moves and
he's very rugged.
yes.
Raw-boned.
I was just going to say that. A natural big man.
Yes.
Where I thought that I'm not a natural big man. I got a lot of weight.
I don't know. Look at you there.
My bone structure. I'm certainly not of the.
See you walking up and down outside the ring there. You're looking a little apprehensive. Sonny King coming in and stalking you there, giving you a couple
and
of
now
very
the big
heavy
King
ones.
comes in. King Curtis. Uh-oh. Well, certainly you can take the punishment as well as dish it out. That match went on and on. That one could have gone on all night. King, let me ask you, in terms of, you look back now at some of the matches and some of the beatings that you took, as well as the beatings that you dished out. And you look back now, and of course, the professional wrestling took you all over the world, but was it all worth it? Can you honestly say it was all worth it now you look back?
I've thought long and hard about that, Vince, because making the transition after being in professional wrestling for 25 years to being a beach boy, it wasn't, like you say, being everywhere in the world and everything. And I know for sure, without a doubt, that it was all worth it, because if it wasn't, then I should just maybe go out and jump off, hang myself or something. But it definitely was worth it for the contacts and the friendships that I accumulated over the years. And I still have my friends, and it definitely was. And it's a great honor and a privilege to be a professional wrestler.
Well, we'll look forward in our travels visiting you on Waikiki Beach.
Please do. Please do, and thank you for having me here, and please come my way so I can make you comfortable on Waikiki.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
King Curtis Iakea will be back as we continue with more TNT. To join us a little later on, Hulk Hogan, the World Wrestling Federation champion, and Mean Gene Okerlund. Stay with us. Back with more TNT, Lord Alfred Hayes. And in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take you to some very special footage. World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan was the ringmaster at a very special circus held in Madison Square Garden for the benefit of some underprivileged youngsters, and it was certainly a highlight in his career. So let's take you now to some footage with Hulk Hogan and his reactions.
Well, today at a different ring, Hulk Hogan is a champion once again. We're going to take a different look at the incredible Hulk Hogan. The occasion was the 10th annual circus outing for special children. Hulk Hogan served as the guest ringmaster for some 18,000 handicapped youngsters. The circus may have been sponsored by the community mayors of New York State, Madison Square Garden, and the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, but the day belonged to the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, Hulk Hogan. Hulk, what is it like dealing with these youngsters and having an opportunity to be the special guest ringmaster?
I tell you, it's really an honor to be here with these special children from the 5 boroughs in New York. You know, these kids are less fortunate than I am as far as physically being capable to carry on in life. But after being with them today, at first I felt really bad, but after being with these kids, they're full of life, man. They're really full of life, and they just enjoy seeing me, which makes me feel great because I know I've got some wrestling fans out there today. Plus, the policemen, the community mayors, and everybody involved with this thing. I think they're doing a heck of a job of taking their time and working very hard for nothing to make these kids happy, and they have really done it today.
You were picking up 2 of the youngsters earlier. Can you describe your emotions when you were doing it?
Well, you know, I was a little nervous because usually when I'm in Madison Square Garden, I've got the wrestling boots on and I'm ready to get in the combat zone. Today, I was in a different kind of circle, the circus, and when I picked the 2 kids up, at first I thought they might be afraid of me, but they were laughing and giggling and carry on. So, like I said, they're just really happy to be here, and they're very exuberant about being here. And emotionally, I didn't feel bad. I felt just really good to be here with the kids.
Do you feel it's important for an athlete to give back, per se?
Well, you've got to. You know, these are the people that support you and get behind you, and they're the fans. Plus, like I said, these kids are really less fortunate in a physical way. Some of them have other problems besides physical problems, and you got to give it back because you got to remember what the basics are and your fellow man and the whole thing. And I tell you, it just makes you realize where you stand, you know, and I don't know how to explain it other than you just feel really good doing it.
Was it a rewarding and satisfying experience to hear the youngsters, the crowd, cheering for you in a different context, in a different type of ring?
Well, yes, it was. I didn't know the reaction that they would have when I first walked out. But when I walked out, I felt like I was in front of the wrestling crowd ready to fight in Madison Square Garden. The fact that these kids are my wrestling fans, plus in normal, everyday street clothes, they notice me and recognize me and are just as loud and excited to see me. It makes me feel like just the fact of me coming out here and telling them time after time to train and say their prayers and eat their vitamins, the message is getting through. And these kids, they're really something else.
All right, there was a little different side of the World Wrestling Federation champion. There are many facets to our next guest. Would you welcome, please, the one and the only Hulk Hogan. Thank you for joining us on TNT.
Love to be here.
That was a little different setting that we saw you in with those children earlier on. Certainly in the normal happenstance, we'll find you in the squared circle wreaking havoc every place you go.
Well, I tell you, when you're running around the world wreaking havoc and you're the world's heavyweight champion, sometimes you forget, you know, between the airplanes and the cars and all the wrestling fans and all the maniacs trying to catch you on the interstate and all over the country, sometimes you really get caught up in that fast lane, awful Alfred, and you kind of forget what it's all about. But things like getting together these special children in New York and what Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey did, it really brings you right back down to the basics. You know, get your feet right back down on the ground. It gives you a reason for going on and pushing that much harder day after day, night after night, and it makes you realize what you're doing is the right thing. It gives you a really good feeling inside.
Well, earlier on, of course, we had as our guest the manager of Ken Patera himself, and his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Of course, Mr. Heenan is also the manager of Big John Studd. Talk about something bringing you back down to earth. Either one of those two individuals would very much like to do that to you.
Well, there's a lot of individuals in the WWF that would like to do that to me. One of the reasons I've got the python boots today on and the knee pads is I've been chasing around Cowboy Bob Orton and Rowdy No Good Piper, and I may be fighting them in the parking lot with you, Awful Alfred. As my partner, I could be fighting them anywhere in the world, but the thing is, I'm ready to kick their you-know-what out with these python boots, and these knee pads, I might have to get down on my knees and beat on them, but Ken Patera, Big John Studd. These are the type of individuals that we don't need around the WWF. I've heard their threats. I've heard their challenges. They're going to have to stand in line because there's a lot of good men in the WWF.
Well, Bobby the Brain Heenan is very upset as of late, and we asked him earlier on, I don't know if you heard some of the comments and questions, but we asked him if, in fact, we thought he was losing a little bit. He's lost the services, of course, of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, and I think that, quite frankly, is really upsetting.
Well, there's a lot of changes with this Mr. Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful. The first good move he did was firing Bobby the Brain Heenan, and since then, I see a really good change in the man. Hopefully, he'll keep on progressing and keep putting one foot right in front of the other without falling off the line. But I've heard the threats, and I've heard the challenges from Bobby the Brain, John Studd, Ken Patera. But as far as Mr. Wonderful goes, I think he's right on the right track now.
Could very well be on the right track. As far as a competitor is concerned, you've had the distinction, I should say, I was going to say the pleasure, but I don't know if it was a pleasure or not, the distinction of being in the ring with Paul Orndorff.
Well, that's what I like about Mr. Wonderful. You know, the fact that we saw things a different way for so long, we still have a lot of differences. don't read me wrong about this thing, but getting in the ring with a guy, he's a fighter, he's a survivor, a top athlete, and one of the greatest wrestlers in the business today. If he channels those attributes and all those things he has going for him in the right direction, he's going to be a really hard one to contend with if he quits taking all those shortcuts.
All right, well, perhaps he'll heed your advice. And don't go away. We have a guest, someone you're very friendly and familiar with. Stay with us. Gene Okerlund will join us. With the World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan, along with Lord Alfred Hayes, and in a moment we're going to introduce to you a very special gentleman for sure. Very special indeed, and certainly, Hulk, you've had the pleasure of having been interviewed by this gentleman for some time now, have you not?
I'll tell you, he's one of the best there is. He's always got the craziest question at the craziest times, but he gets the job done. He digs down into what we're all interested in, what's going on inside professional wrestling. I think he's one of the best announcers. You're right there with him.
Thank you. All right, let's take you now to Mean Gene Okerlund in a rather unusual set of circumstances. Let's take you to Mean Gene.
The wall, it remains to be seen, but I've got to say this. I think Mullah's behind the whole thing, Wendy.
Oh, I do too, and I know she's digging up girls from everywhere that want this belt. Every woman in professional wrestling wants my belt, but I want it too, and I had to fight inch for inch to get this, and I'm not about to lay down on my back and let someone cover me.
I thank you very much. We're going to be right back.
That's Mean Gene for you. Would you please welcome Mean Gene Okerlund? First question has to be, where did you get that hat?
It's the last thing that Truman gave to me before he left.
Truman?
Truman.
We're not talking about President Truman.
No, Truman.
It's different Truman.
Spent a lot of time up on the Cape there, you know.
Did he really?
He did, for a fact.
I wonder what he was doing up there on the Cape.
Well, I've got a pretty good idea, but maybe we could talk about it after the program.
Maybe we can.
Sure.
Well, you spend a little time on the Cape, do you not, from time to time?
Yes. However, it's not the same Cape you're thinking of. I spend the off-season in Terra del Fuego at the very southern tip of South America.
See.
In between that, Sarasota, Minneapolis, and Madison Square Garden.
And points east and west. And
surely.
Of course, yeah.
But loving it all.
Well, your travels take you, of course, as you say, in many different directions, but I would think one of the highlights of someone such as yourself is being able to interview monsters like the WWF champion.
Well, most assuredly.
This
gentleman here has a way of expressing himself. He'll get your attention, as you very well know, Vince. Not only behind the stick, behind the camera, I've had an opportunity to become rather well acquainted with Hulk Hogan.
Yes, well, some of the stories that we've heard, which I probably this is not the occasion to mention them, but I'm sure you have become well.
Why not? Let's talk about it here. This is a wrestling expose.
Sure.
Alfred, you'd be the first one to dig up a little dirt.
No, I don't do things like that. I'm an English gentleman.
Wait a minute. Hold on just a second here. I'm going to take exception to that. I recall the good old days when we did a little quaffing of beer, cavorting with an occasional maiden.
Maidens, yes, but wenches never, not like
wenches, no wenches.
No wenches?
Never. No.
Just a little.
Not that we didn't try. It just never worked out that way.
Your hat... Your hat goes well with your socks.
This is a new Mad Dog Vachon hosiery that's out for men.
Really?
Yeah.
Sort of the sheer type?
Yes, it is.
They have the ones with
Hey,
the
listen, if
polka dots
Namath can do it, come on. Give me a break. We can, too.
I think he left him with the maiden.
I think maybe, yes. Maybe even with the winch. What we would like to do now is show you some footage. Mean Gene Okerlund training with the WWF champ.
Oh, no.
Yes, here we go.
Halfway around, brother, halfway around. Get psyched, Daddy. One more time around the lake. Let's do it, man. Come on, Mean Gene, you can do it, Daddy. Come on, brother. Gino, come on, man. All right, man. All right, Daddy. Halfway around the lake. Get your head right. Eye of the Hulkster, man. All the way. One more time. Come on, Daddy.
Go off. You gotta be kidding the Hulk.
Don't stand now. Come on, Gino. We're almost there, brother. Hulkamania, Gino-mania. Get psyched, man. Eye of the Hulkster, Daddy. Come on, Gino. Let's go, brother. Come on, Gino. Come on, Daddy. Let's go. Come on, Gino. Get psyched, man. Come on, brother. Finish up. Get your head right. Get fired up, Daddy. Eye of the Hulkster. Come on, brother. All right, Gino. Come on, man. Hey. Let's go, Mean Gene. Come on, Mean Gene.
Oh boy, I'm ready for a beer and a bratwurst. What about it, huh?
Whoa, Mean Gene, hold on, Daddy. I just rounded the corner and I turned around and you were behind me. Back to work, Jack. No beer, nothing, man. This is all training.
All I
Come
wanted
on,
was
Gino.
a beer and a brat.
No way. When we're done, maybe, but not now.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
Go.
Well, you were pushed there, Mean Gene.
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't exactly starting out with Mr. T either. But I will say this, this gentleman shot me through the grease for some 3.5 weeks, and in the long run, Hulkster, it paid off for us.
Well, I'll tell you, Gino, when you told me the seriousness of the situation, that you had 7 maidens lined up 7 days in a row, I knew I had to get you in shape. I knew I had to get your endurance up where you'd never give up, you never quit, that you could go all night long. So that's what it's all about. I got Mean Gene meaner than ever for the 7 maidens 7 days in a row.
I don't believe I would have told that one if I were you.
But there are other stories out there, I mean, with, you know, that involving Mean Gene. I mean, would you care to tell everyone how you got the name Mean Gene?
Do we have to go into that?
What?
Because somewhere out there, Jesse Ventura is listening, he's watching, and he started it all, but I must say that this
I thought
man...
it was the 7 maidens.
The 7 maidens, Mean Gene, yes. That
could have been a part of it.
Yeah, it could have been. But I think this man right here, my very dear, close, personal, longtime friend,
yes,
Hulk Hogan, very instrumental in picking up the banner of Mean Gene.
Well, you've been, from time to time, been in a number of set of circumstances, so we're told, in which we have seen both of you, after a match, in a situation in which both of you would walk in and grab a microphone or a bass guitar, as the case may be, and get down with the music.
We have been known to do that on occasion. It's unfortunate that there wasn't a piano here. I don't know if Hulkster has a bass or not, but
well,
if we had...
It just so happens that we have a piano here and a bass guitar that might be big enough for the monster to play, and maybe when we return, we could prevail upon
absolutely
you to...
no preparation, Vince. I'm going to have to beg off. I would love to. I don't want to let anybody down, but I just don't think it's in the cards.
Get him a pair of socks and he'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get you a pair of socks, and we'll be back with Mean Gene and Hulk Hogan. Stay with us. Thank you. We certainly would like to invite you next week for more TNT. We'll have our very first anniversary special, and it will be very much that. It'll be special, and it certainly was special having you gentlemen here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking. It's great for me to come back and be able to answer some questions instead of asking them.
Mean Gene, how about getting down as we get out, huh?
Love to.
All right, let's go.